KTKR San Antonio. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good.
From the UTSA Sports Network, live from Chicken and Pickle, this is the Jeff Traylor Radio Show. The Jeff Traylor Radio Show, presented by UT Health San Antonio, the official healthcare partner of UTSA Athletics. By Chicken and Pickle, good food, good friends, great fun. Also brought to you by Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. And by Credit Human, the official credit union of the UTSA Roadrunners. Now, with head coach Jeff Traylor, here's the voice of the Roadrunners, Andy Everett.
It is time to talk UTSA football with the head coach of the UTSA Roadrunners, Jeff Traylor. Welcome to Chicken and Pickle. Welcome to the Jeff Traylor Radio Show. And thank you for being with us wherever you may be. The Roadrunners coming off a win, and they've got Tulsa this week. They'll kick off at 2:30. Our coverage begins at 12:30 Saturday from Tulsa. Jeff, a good win last week for UTSA, maybe the best game of the year for you guys, and you breathe a sigh of relief. Winning is the best promotion in sports, and you got a big win last week.
Yeah, I was happy for my kids. You know, that's a rough way to start the season off. No one wants to start out the year losing two heartbreakers in a row on the road for conference. That was hard. And for 3 weeks in a row now, we've been tied up or in a very, very close game going to the fourth quarter, and this time we were able to pull it out.
You had a lot of young guys playing for the first time and guys making plays, guys like Ben Rios, who got his first start, Patrick Overmeyer, who got a big touchdown, Jace Wilson made a nice catch, Brandon High iced the game with two big runs in the fourth quarter.
Jamel Hardy, second touchdown of his career.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we were freshmen and sophomores galore out there on the field offensively. Defensively, we're still very veteran, and those guys have been carrying us as we've kind of gotten a little better each week on offense. But every time we get better, we lose another player. So that's kind of been frustrating, but the kids keep stepping up.
We talk about the dome being such a big advantage, and whether there's 20,000 or 40,000, the noise in there is amazing, and it's really become one of the best home field advantages in all of college football.
Yeah, we called a break right when the fourth quarter started. They got sent to our student section end, and they were deep in their own territory. So I knew when they went down there, I said they're going to have trouble getting the ball snapped just because our band and our student section is so loud down there. And they never got out of there. Our defense pinned them up in there. We got the ball. We got two field goals, which were frustrating, but it got us up by 6. And then we kept banging away at running the ball, and we finally busted one. And Brandon, for all practical purposes, put the game away, going up 14 with about 2.5 left.
Cam Fancher had the big 76-yard run in the first quarter, and then he had negative yards the rest of the day. Now, a lot of those go to sacks because sacks count as rushing yards in college football. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think you held them to 7 yards in the fourth quarter. That was a pretty amazing defensive performance.
And he's an elite athlete. I thought their quarterback and their tailback were two of the best players we played against all year. I thought the tailback was a very good back. And obviously Fancher, we busted. We went on a pressure, and we had two guys, in the same gap, and that's never good unless somebody gets home, and we didn't get home. So you could see his athletic ability when he outran our entire defense, however long that run was.
But that defense really bowed up after that, and one sack after another. I think he had 7 sacks in the game, a couple of takeaways, the strip sack that we'll talk about with Cyrus Simon coming up in a little bit, and then Owen's pick in the fourth quarter.
There's a funny story there with Osiris. At halftime of the Rice game, he probably doesn't want me telling y'all this. Our defense is losing their head like crazy, their composure, and he's one of the guys I can usually count on to keep his composure. And he randomly came up to me and told me, he's like, "Coach, I got this. I'm good. I got this." And then he absolutely loses his mind in the third quarter against Rice. I had to take him out of the game, and I'm like, a lot of people that I would have ever thought would have told me they're going to do something, didn't do it. I did not think it'd be you. And I've got to lay low on it. I promised them I wasn't going to mention the PENALTIESs the entire week, so I tried to stay off of him. And in pregame, he randomly comes up to me and goes, "Coach, I promise this time I really got you." So on his strip sack and recovered the fumble,
right.
I went up and reminded him, like, at least you did get it done this week. So I'm sure he'll tell you about that in a little bit.
All right. Devastating news this week from the injury front. For 2 years, J.T. Clark has battled back, and on the first catch of his comeback tour, he tears the other ACL. I know that the team is devastated. I'm sure he's down. And I don't know why bad things happen to good people, but he's one of the best people you have on your team.
Yeah, they kept adding their field safety every time we ran counter. And I told Burke, I'm like, let's just put a glance behind that, and let's get a ball caught by a good athlete so we can break a tackle and score a touchdown. And Owen did a good job on the RPO, and he read it. And JT was in there, and he caught the glance. And right when he caught it, Coach Price kind of smacked me like he got him one. And I saw him hit him right on his kneecap. And when he got up, I saw his whole leg just shift. And I literally got sick at my stomach. I mean, it was just terrible. He's such a great kid, though. I don't cuss often, but occasionally I might slip a word out. And JT is like a word cop. He's like my children. You know, like he going to catch me, and he going to point it out every time. He's laying on the field, and when I saw his leg get hit, I might have said a word that was inappropriate. He's on the field, and JT looks up at me and goes, "Coach, you said the F word on the sideline. I saw you." I said, "JT, your leg is blown out, and you're over here being word cop right now. I mean, can we just get through this moment right now?" And obviously at that time, he didn't know the extent of his injury. I did. I think he was in shock, honestly. And I think he just thought he had like a sprung knee with the adrenaline going. But I could tell by the way it shifted, it was going to be bad news, and it was bad news.
It was bad. Too bad for him. Hopefully he can recover from this one and get back at some point down the road. You did get good news. Ken Robinson looked like he had a devastating injury, and Ronald Triplett, but they came back and are going to be able to go for you. Remember you telling me that earlier in the week.
Yeah, I don't know when they'll be able to go, but they're going to be able to go. They're not season-ending. There'll be game time decisions, and we'll see what those guys can do, Saturday.
All right, Tate Sandell has turned into a big-time kicker for you, and you needed somebody in the relief of Chase, and he's delivered with some big kicks lately.
Andy, don't you play golf?
I do, but not in a while.
I know, but when you got it going really good.
Oh yeah, when you got it going.
You don't want anybody talking about though. You just want everybody just to be quiet about it.
Don't tell me how many birdies I made or how many under I am.
I don't ever play good, but when Martin plays good, we just want to talk about it. We want to lay low, so let's just lay low on Tate Sandell right now. I saw Greg wrote an article. Somebody told me he wrote an article in the paper. I'm like, Greg, what are you doing, trying to jinx my kicker?
Yeah, there's a golf pro in town one time, and somebody said, you're 7 under after 10. He goes, don't ever tell me what I'm shooting.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. We just want to keep playing.
The pressure that you got on the punter was really good, and that ended up in where you blocked the guy into the kick.
It started early. Coach Brown does a good job with those special teams, and Ian Jackson almost got him early, and then Cam got him late. He just knocked the purse protector back into him. And that's a great example of what I was talking about when we had them pinned up on that end of the field. That's when that happened. We had the student section going crazy and our band going crazy. So that was a huge play in the game, and you could tell their punter was shook.
17 straight games now with the takeaway. I don't want to jinx that, but that's pretty good. That's a pretty good number.
I think before that, though, we had a crazy streak of games we didn't get one.
Yeah, the first 6 games, Jess Lepp reminds me all the time, the first 6 games last year you had none, and then all of a sudden the dam broke and you've done it 17 straight games.
Yeah, I wish I could tell y'all what that was. I'm sure Luca will ask me all about it if the streak starts going the other way again.
Exactly. All right, we're going to visit with Cyrus Simon and Owen McCown. Those are our player guests this evening. We're out here at Chicken and Pickle. The show is presented by UT Health San Antonio, the official healthcare partners of UTSA Athletics. Every time the runners score a touchdown and make a 2-point conversion, it's an 8-point possession, and one lucky fan wins $888 thanks to Wainwright Injury Attorneys, the official injury attorneys of UTSA Athletics. athletics. We had several lucky winners last season, so go to the promotions page on the UTSA app and register to win your $888 today. And you can win a brand new 2024 Nissan Frontier pickup truck in the Insera Punt for a pickup contest. Go to goutsa.com/promotions. Register there. You could be one of 3 finalists on the field at the Temple game to punt to win a brand new truck courtesy of the Insera family of dealerships and the All-American Car Wash. We'll visit with Osiris Simon next. This is the Jeff Traylor Show on the UTSA Sports Network.
You know when you
show. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance members get 2 free tickets to Roadrunners basketball, baseball, and football games when you redeem online. Become a Texas Farm Bureau Insurance member and visit goutsa.com/TFB tickets to learn more. It's time for our Stars segment. USAA honors the Stars who serve in our military as the official military appreciation sponsor of UTSA. We're going to visit with Owen McCown here in just a little bit, and right now we're going to visit with Cyrus Simon. We get to know our USAA Stars of the Week. Welcome to the show, Cyrus. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How you doing?
Very good. Well, you've had a great career here at UTSA, and none better than Saturday when you got the strip sack and the fumble recovery. And just before we talk about that, just talk about your time here with UTSA and with Jeff Traylor and this team and all the fun things that UTSA football has meant to you over the years.
It's my only place I've ever been, so just being with Coach Traylor just to start it off, because I was here when he first started coaching for UTSA, so it's just been a journey just to watch us grow. And where we're at right now, I just feel like we're being tested mentally, and I'm grateful to be a part of it right now, because I know we're going to pull it through. All
right, talk us about take us through the strip sack and the fumble recovery on Saturday. That was a big play in the game.
Saturday, I had already missed 2 sacks early in the game, so I felt like I was letting my team down, so I just know I had to just continue to do my job, stay in the game, and the play came to me. That's all that really happened.
Defensively, this team really played well and held the Owls Florida Atlantic to negative yards in the second half for a good chunk of the game. What did you attribute that to?
Just good team defense. Went up in there, made a little adjustments, and went out there and continue to do what we do. We know that we're a great defense when we minimize our penalties and minimize MAs, so we just got to continue to go out there and stack great days just like that.
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story. When I recruited Cyrus, his dad and him were at I think Fogo de Chao. Downtown, and I had just got the job. And, of course, I knew his coach real well, and he spoke very highly of Cyrus. And his dad played at A&M, and his dad asked me, he's like, did you coach a kid named Richard Whitaker when you were at Jacksonville? And I said, yeah, I did. And he's like, well, I think he was his roommate in college, I believe. If not, they were like best friends.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what would Richard Whitaker say about you if I were to speak to him? I said, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just FaceTime him right now. So I FaceTime Richard right there on the spot. And Richard, like, literally is one of my favorite kids I've ever coached. Now, I say that about 1,000 kids, but he's one of my favorite kids I've ever coached in my life. And I call him Big Rich. And Big Rich and his pops, they hit it off the entire time. So I don't know how much that had to do with me getting a size, but I sure was glad I got a task to see to come play for me.
That's awesome. Yeah. What do you remember about that story?
A lot of it. I remember when he first set me down in front of him, he was like, you know why I got you right here? And I was just like, just being ignorant, I was like, I'm your biggest recruit. So that's just right there, just let me know alone who I got in front of me, man. I'm glad to be here.
And you were recruited, and then you get here, and it's COVID. So you got to know him at a quick dinner, and then you didn't really get to hang out very much until you got back to football practice when the restrictions were released for that.
A lot of Zooms.
Yeah, but not. Coach Traylor did text me because I was on the edge of battling with my class my senior year. He told me, it was like, you think you can make all A's? And luckily, I made all A's, so it was either that or JUCO.
His high school, he got literally backed in a corner. Like, he was down to his last semester. And I took him on a gamble because I don't know if anybody else looked at his transcript on that. But he told me, and I could just tell by speaking to him, he reminded me a lot of myself. Right. Somebody that had the ability to make the grades if he wanted to make the grades, but he hadn't really tried much in his life. So he gave me his word. He was going to get his grades done, and he pulled it off. And Coach Wright, who also recruited him, promised me Cyrus would get those grades done. So I still give Rod a lot of credit for getting Cyrus here.
That's pretty awesome. What was the overwhelming decision you said, okay, I got to go to UTSA, I want to be here?
Just the love. I felt it off the rip, the authenticity. So I just knew, I really didn't take any other visits, but I just knew when I came around Coach Traylor and Coach Wright off rip, this is the place where I wanted to be.
Yeah, Rod was the only coach I kept. I had known Rod previously. Coach Brown, Mac, is a good friend of mine, and he played for Coach Brown. And I could see the relationship that Rod had with his current D linemen and the ones he was recruiting. And I could just tell Rod was a real one. And that's one of the best decisions I made by keeping Rod. And I'm so happy for his success with the Texans right now.
I would imagine the Fogo de Chao dinner, you got your money's worth.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah, and his dad did too.
Yeah, the whole family did.
Those are some awesome places to go, but you better come hungry.
Nah, for sure.
All right, you got to play Tulsa this week. What do you think about this team coming up?
A nice opponent that we got facing, very physical. They're a lot like us. They like to run the ball, be physical on defense. So I feel like we got an even matchup here. We got to go set the tone early and continue to stay as a team and win as a team.
You got to play on the road. You have not had much road success this year, but it's time to get that. You guys have been good road warriors in the past.
Yeah, we got to go get our first dub, and that comes with just stacking the great days at practice, taking care of what we need to take care of, exaggerating the fundamentals, and going to work on the basics.
This team doesn't seem to let adversity bother them. Other teams might fold when you started off 2-4 or had the 0-2 start in conference. What is it about this team that you come back to practice, you're focused, you're ready to go, and none of those distractions seem to bother this team?
It's frustrating for sure, but we know that we're putting ourselves in this position, so we know we're a lot better than what we have shown, and we just got to continue to go to work, because if we don't, we can put ourselves in a deeper hole, and we got a lot of seniors on the team, so we trying to go out the right way. What
are the NFL scouts saying about Cyrus?
I like him, his consistency. You know, it's 5 straight years the kid showed up. There's not a lot of people that can say that. Most guys get in the transfer portal. Most guys miss a lot of time for whatever reason, and Cyrus is a steady guy. One of the things I hated about this is why I love the kid so much. I thought he should have been a single-digit guy. I thought that was a very poor choice. There were so many seniors, and they all split their votes up so much. But I've told him on the record, he got my vote. And, you know, those are the times you talk about integrity. You're the head coach, and you know you could go in there and rig the vote if you want to. And he wasn't but like that far away, you know, from being in there. And I'm like, you know, I just got to stay true to the system. And that bothers me. When good players, like your point a while ago about JT, and this is nothing compared to JT's deal, but when good kids don't get what I think they deserve, it's always heavy when you're the head coach.
Cyrus, thanks so much for joining us tonight. All the best to you the rest of the season and into your future, and keep making strip sacks.
Appreciate y'all, man.
All right, that's Cyrus Simon, UTSA defensive lineman. We'll visit with Owen McCann coming up here in just a bit. UT Health San Antonio is the official healthcare partner of UTSA Athletics. See how UT Health San Antonio's brightest minds are making lives better at WeMakeLivesBetter.org. And compare HEB prices to any store. They check and compare thousands of prices on the things you use to gear up for the game, so you can fill up your cart without emptying your wallet. When it comes to UTSA football, no store does more than your HEB, a proud supporter of UTSA Athletics. We'll visit with Owen McCann next on the Jeff Traylor Radio Show on the UTSA Sports Network. here at Chicken and Pickle. It's the Jeff Traylor Radio Show. Enjoy Bud Light while cheering on the runners. Bud Light's the official beer of UTSA Athletics. Birds up, buds up all season long from Bud Light. And Chicken and Pickle is a great place for good food, good friends, and great fun. Delicious food, cold drinks, and yard games and pickleball for all. Chicken and Pickle at UTSA Boulevard in Vance Jackson. Time to visit with quarterback Owen McCown. Welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
Doing good. How are you doing?
Thanks for being here, and congrats on a big win over Florida Atlantic. Take us through the offense there, especially in the fourth quarter. You needed a big drive to close out the game, and you got one.
Yeah. I thought we executed for the most part pretty well. Outside those 3 turnovers, those are on me, so got to clean those up. But I thought it was pretty clean from an offensive standpoint. Like you said, we're steady in the run game, and then finally popped one in the fourth quarter, which was huge.
All right, you started your career at Colorado. You left before Dion got there, and then you came to San Antonio. Talk about all those decisions to get you back here in South Texas.
Yeah, well, honestly, this is probably one I should have made out of high school. I think a lot of guys on our team will say that are here now, but my time at Colorado was good. Got to play 4 meaningful games, and then maintain a red shirt. And then, like you said, when I entered the portal, because of the coaching change, I knew couldn't pass up this opportunity again.
All right, Jeff, you've always talked about quarterback as such a dynamic and hard position to play, and you've got another good one here to follow in the footsteps of one that was really good in Frank Harris. Talk about Owen and his development, what you've seen in the first few games this year.
He's just made from the right stuff. I mean, obviously you got to have the ability to run, which he can run. You got to have to be able to throw, which he can throw. You got to be able to think, which he can think. But that it factor, you just can't coach it, and he just has that. And I'll give you the prime example. The turnovers in the game. Those are 2 of the worst interceptions he's thrown since he's been with us. And he comes right back and rips the slant, and he rips. He throws the mesh, he throws the fade, he throws the vertical down the field, he throws the Y cross down the field. He has a very short, quick conscious. I mean, he could just move on and let it go. It's not like it doesn't bother him. I mean, you can see it all over his face and all over his body, but he's just not going to let it affect his next play. And that's just something that I'm not sure you can coach. I think, Frank Harris had that in him from the way he was raised, and I believe Owen has that in him from the way he was raised. And that's what you're looking for in a quarterback. Can they move? Can they throw? Can they think? And do they have that it factor? And he has all those things.
Yeah, the one thing I thought Frank always did well, he walked in a room and everybody thought, well, whatever he says, we're going to get it done. And I'm starting to see that from you. Where did you learn that? How do you get that it factor, or do you even know that you have it sometimes?
Yeah. I think part of it was just the way I was raised, and then a big factor was being around a guy like Frank Harris, and so when he showed his leadership, like you said, when he walked in the room, there was instant belief, and I think, like I said, that showed from on the field stuff and off the field stuff.
I think all guys that have grown up watching football at some point in time watched it with their dads. Now, your dad was playing football a lot of the time when you were growing up, but I'm curious, what's it like watching a football game with your dad? Is he analyzing every play like a quarterback?
Yeah, every play. Yeah, we're never not learning. So, like you said, it's everything.
Is there any other way to watch a game? I mean, I didn't know there was another way.
Well, you're a coach, so I wouldn't know. But it's kind of fun to kind of interesting because he sees the play and he knows what probably the call is, and most dads don't.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you nailed it. We're always learning, and sometimes you just want to watch the game, and he's just always saying something, or we're trying to learn. So it's awesome, though.
And his dad played in the league 18 years.
Yeah,
so there's not a play, there's not a verbiage, there's nothing that Josh hasn't seen and doesn't have an opinion on. And I love him like my own child. So I guess it's like I'm coaching my grandchild over here. But yeah, Josh is gonna let you know for sure, and he's right, because he knows. 18 years, and now he's coaching quarterbacks in the league. I love him, but that dude knows a lot of ball.
How often do you call him and say, hey, Dad, did you see my game today? What could I have done better?
Yeah, pretty routinely. Obviously, the night before the game we'll call, and then, right after, obviously, he's got his game, coming up, so they're up late Saturday nights. But anytime we can communicate and talk about the game and get little pointers from him is what I'll do. So he's a great help for sure.
That's the part I miss the most about his dad. His dad's such a pro. We don't talk anymore. He did not want to be involved in any way when we were deciding with Owen and Eddie, and we used to speak once a week, and now we don't speak anymore. And I miss that, but I know what he's doing. He wants us to be Owen's deal. He doesn't want to be involved in it, and he knows how parents can be, and he doesn't want to be that parent. So I do miss that, but that's just kind of the give and take of coaching former players when you're as old as I am.
Have you coached any other players before that's like him, that their dads either played or coached, and they have a different perspective of the game than most kids would?
I've only had Owen, McEwen, and Carpenter, and none of those parents played in the league. I have tons of players that have played in the league that I'll stay in touch with, but none that actually are on my roster.
All right, you got to take on Tulsa this week. Talk about this matchup coming up.
Yeah. I think first of all, when you watch the film, you just see how hard they play. All three levels of their defense, they get to the ball and play extremely hard. And then from a scheme-wise, they do a lot of different things. Like I said, they play so hard, you never know what they're really doing from a scheme standpoint. They disguise it so well. So, but it'll be a great challenge for us for sure.
One of the things that this team has prided itself on forever is running the football. We saw you run more the last few games than we did earlier in the season. Talk about that aspect of your game, because I think there's this myth out there that you can't run, but if somebody's chasing you, you can.
Yeah, for sure. I think, if anyone's getting chased, you want to run away from them. But
a little bit faster too, right?
Yeah, hopefully. But like you said, if the play call calls for me to run the ball, then I'll do that. A lot of the times the running comes from the drop back stuff, and lanes open up and I can run. So like you said, if the play call calls for me to run the ball, then I'll do that.
We joke often on the broadcast that the tight end is always open, because it always seems that the tight end is somewhere on the field open. But those guys work at getting open. Talk about that room, and you got 4 of them now that you're throwing the ball to.
Yeah. I think, from a depth chart standpoint, that's probably our deepest room on the team for sure. But a lot of vets, starting with Oscar. He's like you said, he's a vet. So anytime I drop back, I know he's going to be open. Know Coach Burke's going to call play where he's going to be open. And then the younger guys, you could see that they've learned from Oscar a lot. So like last game, Patrick made a good play on a little unthrown ball by me, but he made me right. So anytime we can get the ball to those guys, we'll do it.
Awesome. Owen, thanks so much for joining us. All the best to you. Good luck in the Tulsa game and the rest of the season, and we'll look forward to more years with you as a Roadrunner as well.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, that's Owen McCown, UTSA quarterback. Every 2 seconds in the U.S., someone needs blood, and every time you donate blood, you're saving up to 3 lives. Visit southtexasblood.org to schedule your donation, because when you give, they live. And Texas Farm Bureau Insurance members can get 2 free tickets to Roadrunners football, basketball, and baseball games when you redeem online. Become a Texas Farm Bureau Insurance member and visit goutsa.com/TFB tickets to learn more. We'll scout the Tulsa Golden Hurricane next on the Jeff Traylor Radio Show on the UTSA Sports Network. lucky fan will get a luxurious stay at the historic Maverick Hotel downtown, 2 premium game tickets, a BMW prize pack, and dinner as they cruise the city in a gorgeous new electric BMW X7 SUV. Be sure to check out GoUTSA.com/promotions to register today. It's the BMW Ultimate Home Game Weekend. And you can save time after the game by ordering Taco Cabana online at TacoCabana.com or on the MyTC loyalty app. Sign up for great rewards and exclusive offers only at Taco Cabana. Let's talk about the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. They are not having a great year record-wise, but as you said during the week, this team plays extremely hard and as physical as they can. It'll be a good matchup for UTSA on Saturday.
Yeah, they sound a lot like us. I mean, they lost a very close game to Arkansas State. They won a very close game to Louisiana Tech. The North Texas game, it was 3-0 right before halftime. And then they, lost a close game to Temple. So they're not getting blown out. And that's pretty concerning because they're well coached and they play hard. And they remind me a lot of Rice. And that's just concerning to us because that's a game we thought we could win, but we let it slip away.
You're familiar with Kevin Wilson when he was the offensive coordinator at OU because he recruited Gilmer a lot.
He did. We had a lot of players. We had 5 guys go there and play. And so I developed a good relationship with him. I've had a lot of respect for him. He used to be at Northwestern in the 90s, the late 90s, and he was running the spread before the spread was cool. He's just a guy that's been around ball for a long time, head coach at Indiana for years, and he's a tough coach, and they're a well-coached team, even though I know their record doesn't show it, but they're very well-coached.
What do they like to do on offense?
They want to run the football. They try to run it, and they've got 3 quarterbacks they play. You'll see all 3 of them out there. They'll max protect, throw the ball down the field. They've got good receiver talent. I like the way their kids move around. 18 is their returner, and he's also the best receiver. You'll see him quite a bit. You'll see the running back, 23, and then all 3 quarterbacks will play in the game. Offensive line, tough kids. Defensively, they're doing a really good job keeping the ball in front. Play a lot of zone coverages in the back. Mix up a lot of coverage from 28 to 38 to 3 balls, 3 sky weak, and they do a lot of different things in the back. So that'll be a lot for Owen to have to decipher. And it's always scary when everybody you talk to says, well, they're not very good, and then you look at their schedule, and there's a couple of games that could have gone either way, and their record looks totally different.
What's the challenge in playing a team that will use 3 quarterbacks?
Just that, identifying each one of them, making sure the kids know what each one of them do very well. And Kevin kind of does a different thing each week, so you're not quite sure what the new thing is going to be. So we'll have to adjust to that on the fly.
You're going to get a game in Oklahoma, and you were concerned earlier in the week about the weather because it's always windy up there. I know from experience, but you're going to get a 15-mile-an-hour wind, so that's a calm day in Oklahoma.
Yeah, but still 15 miles an hour will bother you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's you can kind of play through rain, but wind is a whole other factor.
It's kind of like golf.
It's just you can't. Your quarterbacks and your punters and your kickers and your receivers. It's just a lot. But yeah, they're going to have to play with it too. But when you practice and play in the wind every day, obviously it gives you an advantage.
We got our drive of the game from last week's game against Florida Atlantic, brought to you by Goodwill. You always talk about your 4-minute offense, and you needed a 4-minute offense type thing with 6 minutes to go in the game and grinded it out. Brandon High got an 18-yard run and then broke the 30-yarder to score the touchdown. Talk about that drive. I thought that was the drive of the game. You may have another one, but how would you size that one up?
Yeah, I thought that one and the one right before halftime.
The game?
When we turned them over,
yeah.
And they could have gone up 24-10, and that would have been bad news probably for the Roadrunners. But we went down there and tied it up. I believe Jamel caught the fade. So that was a big swing in the game. But to your point, that's always a fine line when there's about 8 to 6 minutes left. Do you want to go 4-minute offense? Because you could get so conservative that you get the ball right back to them. So we tease on the headsets like we're in the 8-minute offense, which it's the 4-minute offense when you need to be, but you want to go fast if you need to as well. That's a tough time with the game because you feel you want to run as much of the clock off as possible, but at the same time while you're just sitting there in the huddle, they're resting, and the part of the beauty of the hurry up tempo offense is they don't have the depth they're tired in the fourth quarter. If you keep going fast, you can break more tackles.
Well, on the previous 2 possessions, you had to settle for field goals. And now you finally get the touchdown. That puts it in the 2-point conversion, so that makes it a 14-point game. And not that you had breathing room with 2 minutes to go, but a lot more than you would have if it had been a lower score.
Yeah, one of our players, and I won't name him, he came up and hugged me with 2.5 left and said, "Coach, I'm so glad we got this win for you." And I'm like, man, shut the heck up, man. Did you see the way that game ended last week? I'm not going to believe anything's over until the game is over.
Every coach wants every second off the clock and every out if it's baseball before they start celebrating.
Because people, they just don't really understand. Like when there's 2.5 left, they know they've got no time left. They know they need 2 possessions. So they're trying to score as fast as possible. Now your hands team's out there on the field. You don't want your hands team out there on the field. If you give up the hands team onside, you can almost darn near count they're going to score because the momentum has gone through the roof. And every coach has seen it. And those are those worst scars in your mind. You just don't want it to go there. I was thrilled when they gave Pee Wee the interception.
Yeah.
I'm like, praise the Lord, it's over.
Well, 2 years ago at UAB, we're up 14 with 4 minutes to go.
And then we're in overtime.
Yes, we are. Yeah, don't forget those. That's your Goodwill drive of the game. Goodwill makes a difference. And on October 26th, you can donate at the Bandera, De Zavala, and Calabria Goodwill store locations to receive a buy one, get one voucher for a free ticket to a UTSA football game. Go to goodwillsa.org for details and go Runners. All right, today UTSA made a major announcement that starting next summer, they're going to switch to Nike brand, and that's going to be the new outfitter for UTSA. How excited is the football team? I'm sure some players are looking forward to some new gear.
Well, Cyrus, when we were off the radio a while ago, he's like, man, that's the maddest I've ever been in my life. 5 years he's been here. I've been wanting to go Nike this whole time, and now y'all going Nike when I leave. So, you know, that swoosh is powerful. And from Michael Jordan to Tiger Woods, you know, those kids have just grown up, and that's what they want to be with. So much props to Dr. Compost and our administration for getting that done. I know that's what our kids wanted, and I think that's going to be really big for all of us. More promotional stuff, more stuff for our kids to wear, and they did a really good job of trying to get and nothing against Adidas. Those guys did a fantastic job, and I'm very grateful for what they've done for us. But our kids are very excited about that.
Does that make a difference when you're recruiting a player? Do you say, I got Nike gear for you when you get here?
Let me tell you something. In the old days, the Nike would have made a difference, but in the new days, the NIL is what makes the difference.
Yeah, but it doesn't hurt, right?
No, the Nike and the NIL would make you darn near undefeated.
There you go. That's awesome. All right, we got a few more things to wrap up the show. We'll do that coming up in our final segment. On behalf of USAA, the UTSA Athletics and our military appreciation partner USAA, we'd like to thank all the service members, veterans and their families listening today for your service and sacrifice. USAA serving the military community and their families since 1922. Final segment coming up next on the Jeff Traylor Radio Show on the UTSA Sports Network. Back out here to finish up things on the Jeff Traylor Radio Show this evening. All right, and we'll get to that. The season Roadrunner touchdowns mean more than 6 points. For every touchdown UTSA scores at home, the Texas Animal Defense League will receive $1,000 thanks to North Park Subaru. Last season, North Park Subaru donated $27,000 to the Texas Animal Defense League thanks to 27 UTSA touchdowns. It's North Park Subaru's TDs for charity. All right, let's get into Ben Rios and DeAndre Marshall on your offensive line. You recruited them out of Central Catholic a few years ago. Talk about players that you've developed, and they're starting to perform really well for you.
Yeah, last week was a great example of that. You know, that was kind of the model when I got hired 5 years ago, was our relationship with Texas high school football coaches, Texas high school football players, get them in here, develop them, and let's go win a bunch of ball games. And then the whole world, from COVID to NIL to transfer portals, has changed all that. So Ben and DeAndre were some of those original ones that we got. I think they were year 2, actually. And really good players here in the city. And they're having to be best friends. And they both are coming on about the same time right now.
And Ben can play all 5 positions on the offensive line, so that gives you a really versatile player there.
Yeah, Ben's played center, guard, he can play tackle. I think by the end of his career, you might see him play literally all 5 spots.
Is he developing into a kind of a pro prospect right in front of us? I know Mako was really good, and we've had some other centers in the past, but he just seems to be someone that absorbs the game and learns every day.
Oh, that's just a lot to put on a guy that young, but he definitely has the height, the intelligence, the character, the speed. He has all the attributes. I just think the kid has unbelievable potential. He comes from a great family as well, and I know he's really proud to play in front of his family, and we're glad we have him here, and I know the Central Catholic Nation's fired up to watch those 2 boys play.
We talk a lot about the tight ends. Patrick Overmeyer, his touchdown the other day, big play in the beginning of the game.
Another Texas high school football player, was a quarterback in high school, came to our camp, and we talked him into moving to tight end, and I think his upside is a lot like Ben's. He has a lot of size, he's got speed, he's got power, he's got IQ, he's got character, and I think he'll be another great player for us. I do, and I know people get tired of hearing it, but all those young players out there, if we want to continue seeing them play here, it's going to be very important that we adapt to the new way of college football.
Yeah.
And NIL's here to stay.
Yeah,
and now the schools can start paying. So in July of 25, that'll be new. The collectives will still be going, but the school can now pay, which I think that's going to clean up some stuff. I think you'll get better contracts. I think you'll get more up above the table dealings,
right.
Not kids being kind of duped into coming somewhere. But our collectives, which is 210inspired.org, will still be the main one for football, and then city fans will do the events. So that's going to be a big part of keeping all these young, talented players we've got on offense.
Well, and I've heard a lot of coaches outside our league and inside our league and at the mid-major level, you have a young player that does something great, all of a sudden he's on film and now everybody wants him and they've got money.
Yeah, but I think our plan needs to be, like, we're not going to have the money of those Power 4 schools. They're going to be able to pay between 11 and 15 million. But we've got to get our roster to where we can get to $3 million. If we'll get our roster, our kids won't leave us if we don't have to match dollar for dollar.
Right.
But we've got to get them at least enough they're comfortable staying. And I think it's very important. You know, we don't have a professional football team in San Antonio. We're the closest thing to that. And if we're going to be sincere about what we really want, that's going to be the next part of all this for us to be sincerely competitive with these teams in this league.
Brandon Brown led the team in tackles in the FAU game, and it's not often that a defensive lineman makes all the tackles. He's usually taking players on so that somebody else can make the tackles. Talk about his performance on Saturday, and he anchors that defensive line and usually draws a double team almost every play.
What a fantastic player, and we're going to miss him. That defense is going to all be gone. Those guys are all seniors. Very few of those guys will be back. So our offense will be really good next year, and our defense will be in transition. And again, that's the wonderful thing about the portal. We can go fix our defense quickly,
right,
if you've got the right amount of funds to go fix the defense.
Davin Martin got his first start at corner. Talk about his maturation.
Really proud of him. Another Texas high school football player. We recruited out of high school. And I know his mom's thrilled. I mean, he had a really good game, and he's been playing good at gunner for us. He was a little early twice this week, but he played really good at corner.
You mentioned the culture pillar this week is physical toughness, and that's the way that Tulsa plays.
They do. They're really tough. You can tell they like their coach. They play hard for him. They'll be a hard out Saturday. It's going to be a heck of a ball game. It'll be just like these last three have been. In the fourth quarter, you'll be puckered up going, oh, Lord, here we go again.
It's the way it's been for 5 years, isn't it?
I'm glad you remember it correctly. Most people think we've been ahead 49-0 the entire game.
Hang half 100 at halftime and call it a day, right?
I don't remember maybe two of those since we've been together.
It doesn't happen very often. You talked earlier this week about how proud you are of the way this team has handled adversity when so many thought it was going to be an easier or better season. And then you threw out a Bruce Lee quote that I know you didn't get completely right, but got close. Talk about addressing the team with things like that to kind of give them life lessons.
Yeah, it's just, I know I've said it so much, I know people are tired of hearing it, but football is just an analogy of life. Life's really hard. And all of us in here have hoped and prayed for an easy life. And like, there's not one person in here that's going to say we've had a easy life. We've all had great lives. We're all grateful to be here, but life is very hard. And this season's been harder than our other 5 seasons. And if we were to interview everybody here, there's certain parts of their life where a season was harder than another season. And it's just one of those great opportunities to teach. And that's what life is. It's a lot like football.
Keys to the game against Tulsa.
Woo. You know, I don't want to deviate from how we usually do this, go through the defense, the offense, and special teams, but I think we got to create our own juice somehow. The Alamo Dome's not going to be there. We're not going to have all of our fans there. We're not going to have our band there. So can we create enough juice to get our defense to play like it did Saturday? And can our offense, who played pretty well in the Rice game, can we go back and put together another professional drive more than just 4 or 5 times in the game?
All right. Thanks so much. Have a great week at practice, and we'll look forward to the trip to Oklahoma on Friday.
Thanks, Andy. Appreciate you guys. God bless. Birds up.
All right. That's head coach Jeff Traylor. That'll wrap things up for our show out here this evening. The Roadrunners take on the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. We're on the air on Saturday afternoon at 12:30. The kick is at 2:30, and we hope you'll join us for that. And then back home next week, that Memphis game, they did announce the start time. That's an early game at 11 a.m., and we'll be on the air a week from Saturday at 9. More on Memphis next week as the Roadrunners prepare for Tulsa this coming weekend. My thanks to Shane Carter for producing the show. Dan Walters, our engineer out here. Thanks to you for being a part of it. We'll see you next week, the Jeff Traylor Radio Show on the UTSA Sports Network.